Yes.
Um, the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has announced that the norm should in the future be that a armed response officer such as Sergeant Blake should in the future have the benefit of anonymity until and only if that armed response officer is convicted of a crime like this. Uh, because what has happened to Sergeant Blake is that he's required police protection ever since it was announced that he was the person being charged with the murder of Mr. Kaba, because Mr. Kaba appears to be part of a quite sophisticated underworld, and it is said that there is a bounty on Sergeant Blake's head.
Yes, I mean, I just think in the criminal sphere, anonymity is something that has to be approached really, really carefully. I mean, we've crossed the bridge on rape complainants on that, haven't we?
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think that we have to be very, very careful. The idea that somebody who's accused of a crime and who goes through a trial, it should all be done in camera without any, or with reporting restrictions, with the identity not being reported. It just is completely antithetical to the idea of how justice should be
Well,
done.
except, Nicholas, we in the law have always been acute to protect people who may be physically put in danger as a
Yes.
result of the criminal justice process. So we will never name informants normally. PII certificates will normally be granted. PII,
The Home Secretary wants to make it a general rule, Charlie. I mean, why can't it just remain as it is so that if you are fearful of some kind of retaliation, like Sergeant Blake was, that you apply for anonymity on an individual basis?
well, what Yvette is saying, which seems to be sensible, the presumption should be for an armed response officer that he will get anonymity unless convicted. But it's a presumption which can be rebutted if there's good reason to do so. And don't
Yeah.
you think that that is? I mean, it is difficult to imagine what Sergeant Blake went through. And at the end of the day, it sounds like a conscientious jury acquitted him.
Yes.
uh, I'm very sympathetic to the proposition that says in the future, if you are acquitted, you should not also have to carry with you for a very long period, maybe the rest of your life, the need to be protected.
Well, again, Charlie, I would allow, obviously, as exists as we have on the existing law, I would allow people to be able to apply on an individual basis for like anonymity, and the law should be enabled to provide that. But I wouldn't have general rules to that effect. I'm sorry.